Davey.
Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of In Depth with David. This is NBA Finals recap number 2, where we will be recapping Game 2 between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns that just happened last night. And once again, I'm joined by my good friend Carter. Carter making a second appearance on the channel. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful. Davy Jones, how are you doing?
Good. Just happy to do this again. What are your thoughts on the NBA Finals so far? Because I feel like a lot of people had expectations that this was going to be a crazy series, like back and forth. Mm-hmm. And, I think it's been a decent series, but nothing amazing. Like, I haven't been wowed. I was happy with the matchup, with it being two teams that we haven't really seen in years, because usually you see the big market teams just dominate the NBA. But I don't know. I'm not, wowed by what I've seen so far in terms of, the entertainment factor.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a refreshment, though, not seeing, Golden State, LeBron, just all these
just
big
LeBron.
stars. Yeah, mainly LeBron, and then that whole 4 or 5 year phase of Golden State just dominating. Thank God that's basically over. I'd say that's probably over by now, the Golden State era. I'd say that's their little dynasty they had going. If you could consider that dynasty, that's probably over. But besides the point, these finals, I don't know. I see the Suns are just playing so much better than the Bucks. The Bucks, they did not change up their play style from the first and second game. It just looks like regular season games to me. They're just playing how they would verse the Magic or something. They're just careless basketball. They're just playing they're not treating it like it's a finals. I feel like I don't know if it's because lack of experience in the finals or in the playoffs. Because how many players on that team have made it to the finals? Do you know off the top of your head?
So Jay Crowder, I think, is the only one on either team that has finals experience.
Oh, on either team?
I want to, because no one on either team has a ring, and that's the first time that's happened since the 70s. But Jay Crowder is the only one who I think has made it to the finals, and he obviously he just made it last year, so
so it's still
pretty new to everyone.
Yeah, it's new to everybody. But the Bucks, the Suns, maybe it's just because of Chris Paul. They're making it look like they've been to the finals plenty of times. They're just playing they're playing some fun basketball to watch. It's super entertaining on the Suns' part, I will say. I'm curious as to what the ticket sales and the viewership is compared to last year's finals. I wonder if it's a substantial difference since LeBron's not in there.
I would imagine. I haven't Googled it yet, but I've been. That's a good thing to Google. I think the ratings last year were definitely down in terms of the regular standard for the NBA finals, but that's super understandable because we were in the heart of a pandemic and there's, bigger things to worry about than watching two teams play in front of each other with no fans in the middle of October to determine the finals of a season that nearly started a year before. But I would say the final ratings or the ratings for the finals this year are probably worse than they were last year in the bubble, just because a lot of teams and a lot of these networks are this is the worst case scenario for them. Two not big market teams making it to the finals. No one really. It's hard to market. I mean, it's a great chance to market these young teams, like the Bucks with Giannis. He finally makes it to the finals. Let's see if he can get it done after winning a couple MVPs. And then you have a team like the Suns, where they were 14th in the NBA just a couple seasons ago, and with the addition of Chris Paul and after an amazing bubble run, they're in the finals the very next season. So you can market the teams pretty well, is what I'm saying, but people hate the fact that they're in two essentially no-name cities. So to wrap that all around, my last point, I mean, I think that the ratings are definitely down compared to last year, and that probably has a little bit to do with LeBron, because whether you like it or not, LeBron literally lives rent-free in every single sports fan's mind, more than any other athlete. You can go on any Twitter post and just see LeMickey win a real ring. And I think people love to hate him or they love to love him. And the fact that he went out early again in the playoffs, it's made a lot of people want to stop watching.
No, yeah, definitely. And definitely with LeBron and Space Jam 2 coming up, people, they've got enough basketball in their hands. They don't really want to watch the finals. No LeBron, no superstars. They're all right, let's just watch the highlights on House the highlights, and then we'll be on. But I don't know if you saw LeBron tweeting he's 3 games left to go, 2 games left to go, when Chris Paul was after each game that he won, and I hate all those accounts that were posting the first time he said it and then the second time he said it. And all the comments are just like roasting, like what you were saying, like Lil Mickey, like everyone's just roasting LeBron.
So I love the Lil Mickey thing. I think it's hilarious. He earned that ring, but like I just love like the nicknames that come with LeBron. Like he's gonna be in Fortnite. I don't know if you heard about that, but he's getting his own Fortnite skin.
No
Some
way.
people are calling him Levi Bucks, which I think is hilarious.
That actually is hilarious.
But I hate the whole like the buddy stuff in the NBA. It's been like that for the last few years. Like, I get it. Chris Paul is like the godson, or not the godson, sorry, the godfather of one of LeBron's kids, or it might be the other way around. But either way, they're super close. They've been close for years. But like, just have some pride. Like, your team lost. Like, why are you rooting for other teams to win?
Yeah.
It's the same thing like with when Kyrie Irving stepped on the logo, stepped unlucky when he beat the Celtics, and then they eliminate us one game later in Game 5, and Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown and Tatum were all dapping up Kyrie, like, "Oh, great to see you, Kyrie. Let's have drinks after this. Like, good luck the rest of the way." Like, no, like if I had anything to say about that, not me personally, but if I had it my way. Right after he did that, I would have loved to see Marcus Smart turn around from going into the tunnel, just rush out to center court and just deck Kyrie, because that's just disrespectful.
No, yeah, it definitely is different. Definitely with the times changing, everything's a lot different. I think you'd be a great fan in the Bad Boy Piston era.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't like the buddy stuff. Like, just have some pride. Like, don't just like it's the same thing. Like. I'm stuttering so much. Sorry to all my viewers. I'm not very articulate sometimes, but you just lost a series. Oh, thanks for eliminating me, fellas. Good luck the rest of the way. I'm rooting for you. Let's make some snap faces or whatever after the series is over. I think it's stupid, and just have some pride, and just be mad about the fact that you lost. Don't just go right into the locker room and the first thing you do is just go on your phone and post on Instagram your post game fit or whatever. I mean.
Yeah,
like you said, though, it is a different era with different people playing the game. I think Paul Pierce, as polarizing as he is, for whatever reason, he summed it up really well in a quote a couple years ago, and saying that people in his generation would go to the gym to practice 24/7, whereas people in our generation, this newer era of basketball players, they're all focused on how to get better in 2K. So I think that just sums it up pretty well.
No, yeah, that definitely. I definitely noticed an increase of like basketball players, and I mean all sports players really, like using media more, I guess. Like, I feel like maybe 4 years ago, you wouldn't see like all these, even celebrities, all these like NFL players, NBA stars, all on like Twitch, like streaming on YouTube, like partnering up with different gaming companies. Like, you wouldn't normally see that, like Juju Smith-Schuster just completely just like a TikTok person, basically a TikTok personality and an NFL star. Like, that would not happen. That really wouldn't happen.
Love you too, whoever this is. I appreciate the support.
The baby fan account. We love him. I love you, the baby fan account.
Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I just think it is very weird though how a lot of players are on TikTok, like you said, with Juju Smith-Schuster. A lot of YouTubers, like vloggers, which I think is cool to see, like behind the scenes of an athlete.
I like that part about it. Like, you can see just everything that you definitely are not supposed to see, or like you probably wouldn't see in your life, and it's like, oh wow, like it's really no different than like some behind the scenes thing. It's like, wow, like they're really just like standing there like doing everything. Like, there's no difference of like what we're doing compared to like what they're doing. You know what I mean? Kind of like closes the gap, I guess.
They're just utilizing their clout really well, honestly, by doing all this stuff. And I don't think you would see, to your point, Michael Jordan vlogging back in the day if YouTube was a thing.
No way.
Players like him, they'd be super locked in. Yeah, it's just a different era, but it doesn't mean I like it.
No, yeah, definitely. I remember like Karl Anthony Towns, like I think it was Karl Anthony Towns and Ben Simmons. They were like playing COD or like PUBG or something together, and he was like, who you versing tomorrow? He's like, nah, you can stay on another game. It
was the Atlanta Hawks that Ben Simmons said, and Karl Anthony Towns said, "Oh, so you don't need to, you don't need a rest for that." Yeah. And 3 years after that comment is made, the Atlanta Hawks eliminate the Sixers. So
it's pretty funny. Yeah. Do you think players get like sued for that? Like, if they say something like that or something I feel like the NBA probably has a really tight like policy for what you can and can't say, like regarding NBA politics, I guess.
So you can't get fined for something like that, like just trash
Mhm.
talking another team. But Kevin Durant, I don't know if you remember earlier this year, he got into it with the famous comedian Michael Rappaport, and
Yeah,
he said a lot of
a lot.
inappropriate
He said
things.
a lot of things.
And the NBA fined him, which I think is a little weird because that had
Mhm.
nothing to do with basketball. But the
Yeah.
fact that it was leaked and it's a bad look for one of their better players to be so homophobic and misogynistic or whatever in that
Mhm.
in his messages, that's a bad look. So they had no choice but to fine him. I
Mhm.
think that's maybe the most you can do when it comes to that. I don't know if you can suspend someone, but like if you criticize the refs, you're going to get fined. But I don't think I've
Oh,
seen
really?
they do fine you if you criticize the refs. Like Joel Embiid does it a lot. He has said like literal verbatim quote after a game. One of his quotes
Mhm.
was "These refs effing suck," and he
Oh,
got
wow.
fined like 50,000. But I don't think you can get suspended for something like that.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, no, the refs. Another thing with the refs, like those poor people, like their job is it's so
I've been
bad.
there. I was a
Oh,
uh,
really?
I was a baseball umpire, and it was not fun at all because
Yeah.
you're
They
made out to
know
be the
that.
bad guy no matter what, and no one is on your side. It's as if the two teams unite against you sometimes too. So
You basically lose. You've already lost.
if you're a
Roughing.
mentally tough person, then definitely do it because you
Mm.
make like $50 in 2 hours of work just
Oh, wow.
umpiring a game. But yeah, it wasn't for me. It wasn't the right time for me. Maybe I do it now where I'm a little bit more stronger when it comes to
Mhm.
stuff like that. But
At the
yeah,
time, yeah.
it's all these 40-year-old guys coaching 10, 11-year-olds and treating it like it's game 7 of the World Series. It's like,
Yeah.
it's what it
That must
is.
suck. That must really suck.
So one other thing I want to talk about is even though it doesn't seem like a big gap statistically in terms of
Mhm.
assists, the Suns out assisted the Bucks 26-21, but they just did so much better, it seems like, at least in these first 2 games of the series, just doing team basketball, working the
Mhm.
ball around, making sure all 5 players touch the ball. And I
Mhm.
thought the Bucks were going to do pretty well with this too, but they just seem to get into panic when the Suns go on runs, which is what
Mhm.
happened in the second quarter and throughout the rest of the
Ooh,
second half
yeah.
too,
The second quarter was
where
bad. It was like they outscored them like 30. The Suns outscored them like 30 to like 16.
yeah,
They had the
so
lead too going into the second half or the second quarter. Sorry.
they did, and I
Mhm.
just think that this is an issue for the Bucks, where once the Suns go on these runs, they just start settling for isolation shots with Giannis, Chris
Mhm.
Middleton, and that's just panicking, in my opinion. And it's just allowing more momentum to go to the Phoenix's side. But I've been really impressed with not only how Chris Paul has facilitated the offense, but really how that whole starting 5 has worked. Because Chris Paul had
Mhm.
another 8 assists last night, Booker had 6. Even people like DeAndre Ayton had 4, Crowder had 3. I mean, they're working the ball around well, and I mean it's paying off for them because they've taken the first 2 games pretty convincingly in the series.
Oh yeah, no, like both series, like it's just by far, like by like the third quarter, even like yeah, like middle third quarter, you just know like these past 2 games, like all right, the Suns they won it already. Like you can just tell, like the Bucks just they're coming closer. I will say, second game a little closer. They're in the lead in the second quarter. I mean, first game, pretty sure they didn't even get the lead, like at all. I think in the first quarter they just instantly lost it and they didn't get it back. Like my facts are correct. I don't want to say
That
any
sounds about. I mean, yeah, it
misleading
seems like
facts.
Suns had control pretty much that whole game
Mhm.
from the start.
But they also I'm pretty sure read this somewhere. I was watching Stephen A. I think. Oh yeah, they the Suns they outscore the Bucks by 33 from the 3-point line, which is that's a lot. I feel like that is a ton of shots. Like the Bucks, they
They,
should just stop shooting threes because their percentage was I think altogether was like 29%.
and that goes back to my point of not just settling for Giannis 3-pointers. Like with
He can't shoot.
18 seconds left on the shot clock and you're firing up a Giannis shot, like there's a reason like they're not guarding him on plays like that. They're just letting
Mhm.
you shoot, and they're going to keep letting him shoot it. And yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous. Mikal Bridges just could not miss last night. It seemed like he had 27 points,
It's
7
good.
rebounds, 1 assist. It literally seemed like he couldn't miss a 3-pointer. Chris
Mhm.
Paul had some clutch 3-pointers. Devin Booker, just another fantastic night for him. But Yeah, going back to those percentages, Bucks 9 of 31, 29%. Then the Phoenix Suns went 20 of 40, so 50%. So when they shot a 3-pointer, it was literally either it's going to go in or it's going to miss. That's ridiculous.
Sales, which is crazy, yeah. And then their free throw was another. It wasn't a 90% one like last time or 96%. This one was 85%. So
only 2 misses though.
I know that's really good. Do you think it's because of Chris Paul? Like, do you think that he really tried to ingrain shooting good free throws into their heads? Because he's always been good at free throws. Like, I want to know what the team's like, what their free throw percentage was the last few years before Chris Paul.
Well, and they didn't even. The interesting thing is they didn't even get a free throw attempt until I think sometime late in the second half. I remember hearing about that on the broadcast because the Bucks were getting a lot of free throws early, and they went 15 and 23, so 65%. But that's a good point about Chris Paul. I think, as great as he is at free throws, maybe he just decided to spread the wealth and encourage the other people on his team to, take it seriously. Because I feel like Devin Booker's always been a good free throw shooter. DeAndre Ayton, I think, is okay or pretty decent for a center. And,
I don't really expect too many centers to get a really good free throw percentage.
Yeah, I mean, they're free. They're literally free points. They call them free throws. So you got to capitalize on them.
Exactly.
It was tough to watch the Bucks shoot free throws last night, and that's not a knock on Giannis. I respect the heck out of him, but I always kind of cringe watching him airball a free throw, which happened again last night.
It's just I feel like if you're like for me, if I airball the free throw, I feel like be like, all right, understandable. He's very short, but Giannis, he's like arms like this much of an arm's length away. You can't see my arms, but I'm holding my arms
6'11".
Yeah, that much far like away from the free throw, like from the basket. Like he can just place it in.
His wingspan is 7'3". So to go to your point, I mean,
I just don't understand how he doesn't just splash it every single time. Like, is it a mental thing? Is it the crowd just chanting down the numbers? Like, what is it?
It's a little bit of everything. So the point about the crowd chanting the seconds off or seconds for how long it takes for him to shoot it, he said after game 1 and like a presser the next day that he does hear it, but he just tries his best not to let it get to him. But also, Carter, when you're super big like that, like someone like Shaq also struggled with free throws. So it tends to be these bigger players, for whatever reason, just struggle with their form to shoot it. And I don't know why, but like Shaq looked like super uncomfortable when he shot it. Like he was like clutching his body to the other side, and he was just trying to like throw it in.
Arm, basically, yeah.
Giannis, his arms are like all the way extended to the heavens, and he just tries to like flock it in. But I don't know. I think it's definitely a bit of a mental thing, and just it's something to do with mechanics because I didn't follow the Bucks too much in the early Giannis years, but I've read and multiple articles that Giannis changed his shooting form after like his second season. And before, the form he used to have was like automatic. He could hit like fadeaway jumpers, 3-pointers. I know that sounds crazy because of how we know Giannis now, but I think just that little tweak in his mechanics just really kind of messed with him, and it's been hard for him to recover.
Yeah, he's gotta just work on that, just like how Ben Simmons has to work on his shooting. He's just gotta work on them free throws. What did the baby fans say?
Minute-long free throw just to airball. I mean, it is a little ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. That rule is in place for a reason. You only have 10 seconds, or you have 10 seconds to get it up. That's more than enough time. When I'm playing pickup basketball, I take 5 seconds.
10 seconds is kind of a lot. That's like half the shot clock. Like it's a pretty sizable amount of time, honestly. 10 seconds.
And I forget who it was. I think the team they faced, or no, it was Brooklyn. When they were playing in Brooklyn for like game 4, they on the Jumbotron at the Barclays Arena, they had a clock that showed like how long it took for Giannis to put up a free throw. And then the NBA said, knock it off. Like, that's not cool. Don't do that. Which I don't really get, because that's a clear violation of the rules.
Yeah. So the NBA got mad at the stadium for doing that?
And the stadium and the Brooklyn Nets organization, they just told them, like, I think Adam Silver just said, can you stop doing that, please? And they're like, okay.
So I feel like that's a little soft. Like, I mean, I feel like that's kind of
absolutely
just some banter, some
it's
friendly
gamesmanship.
banter. I mean, just a little something.
when the Raptors and the Bucks played in the Eastern Conference Finals a couple of years ago, back when they still had Kawhi, I think Kawhi had like a turnover or something, and it says on the announcer says like turnover, Bucks ball, and right after he says that, the Bucks announcer played Kawhi Leonard's laugh, like the infamous laugh, just to troll him. NBA doesn't say anything about that.
Yeah, it's like it's not even like a worse. It's not like bad or anything, but it's like it's a worse than like what the timer is. Yeah, it's just a little something. It's a little poke. That's crazy to me. That's actually crazy to me.
So free throws definitely did play a big impact in the game because they did go on to lose by 10, but say that they hit 5 more free throws, we're looking at a different game that isn't over with like 5 minutes left.
And sorry, keep going.
Oh no, so they were hanging in there for most of the game. I mean, the Suns had their runs. I think they went up by like double digits at one point, and the Bucks were climbing back in it as we got closer to the end, but then they just gave up on one of those last possessions, and Chris Paul had the ball in the corner for the 3. He just threw it up, and then it was over because no one went over to contest. So that's another thing, too, that's kind of killing the Bucks in these first 2 games is the second chance opportunities given to the Suns.
Because I feel like I was looking at the offensive rebounds, and I feel like, the Bucks had like a decent amount, but they just weren't. I like what you were saying, like they just don't hit their free throws. Like they're just not really aggressive. Like they're shooting, like they should just be attacking the basket. Like they're really just not taking advantage of the size of their team, like in the size of the Suns team. Like the Suns team they're not small by any means, but like they're not the Sixers. Like everybody's like 7 foot tall in the starting lineup. You know what I mean?
So the Bucks did actually have more offensive rebounds than the Suns, 18 to 11, but it just seemed like the Suns, going back to my point, were capitalizing more on those second chance opportunities because the Bucks, I do remember them having some decent offensive rebound second chance opportunities with Giannis, but he wouldn't be able to do anything because, again, another theme that transpired or carried over from game 1 for the Bucks into game 2 was missing easy layups. That's another big issue for them.
I feel like it's the easiest things, the free throws, the easy layups. They're just not making them. They're just going for the hardest things like the shot. They're going for 3-pointers. Like that's not a 3-point team. Like they gotta understand. Like
other than Chris Middleton.
Other than Chris. Yeah, they should just stick it to like a couple people shooting threes. Like I don't know what happened. I don't know why the entire team has to be able to shoot threes. Like the center should not be shooting threes at all. Power forward, maybe. Everybody else should like point guards. It should just be for point guards and shooting guards for shooting threes, and then small forwards, like the occasional small forward. That's just me.
Yeah, they need to go back to their bread and butter because it didn't work for them last night, and it hasn't worked for them so far. But like, and this isn't a knock on just the Bucks; it's a knock on really the whole NBA because the last few seasons, it's been really hard for players to make easy layups. Like, there's a statistic 3 seasons ago: Marcus Smart only made 60% of his layups. 60% of a layup, or of his layups.
60%. He probably made more free throws than layups.
It's called a layup for a reason. Like, don't give me that BS. Like, people are gonna say, oh, like if they have to deal with contact on the way up, then yeah, they have to alter their shot. Your NBA players that are all around 200, 220 pounds, you can get through a little contact.
Yeah,
you wouldn't be saying that if I was up against you giving you contact.
No, for real. I feel like I see a lot of these young players are like they can like switch their shot midair. Like, I don't know if you've seen it. Like when they have a little layup, they like go up this way and they swing it up this way. Yeah, crazy. Like John Morant too. I don't know if you've seen him. Like he'll be jumping up there, like twisting ball all around. Like it's crazy. Yeah, it's great. Like they're insane at doing that. I feel like a lot more players need to learn how to do that. I guess I don't know. I feel like it's more like the smaller players that really do it. Like I feel like I don't really see centers doing that because it's kind of hard. Like this huge player, it's kind of hard to be doing like spin moves with the ball and everything like that. But Giannis could so do that. I mean, come on, he could do that around the basket. Like I feel like we've seen him do that before.
Oh, he has done that. He a couple of years ago in the playoffs, he had a pretty highlight reel worthy play like that where he went up for it, took contact from Blake Griffin back when he was still in the Pistons, and as he was falling to the ground. He like put the ball in his other hand and just flung it up and it went in. So
Oh wow.
Giannis has those skills, but it's just becoming him, just taking the ball and just going all NBA Jam, just running down the court and dunking it.
I mean,
which he's good at, but that's all he can do.
I know exactly. And I mean, he can do that and that works, but everybody else on his team has to find their role, I guess. Like Brook Lopez, he's got to pick something. He's got to be picking center or center shooting guard. Like, I don't know what. He's got to pick something, one or the other.
That's also on the coach too, I think, though, because I'm glad he strayed away from this Mike Budenholzer in game 2. But I said this in the first recap. I cringe so hard when you're setting up shots for Brook Lopez from the 3-point line with like 20 seconds left in the shot clock. Like, I'm all for like working it around and then maybe at the end of the shot clock, giving Brook Lopez a shot because he can hit threes. He's actually one of the more reliable 3-point shooters for centers. But there's just so many other opportunities or better opportunities available when you have people like Drew Holiday, Giannis, and Chris Middleton on the court. So I think they needed to work the ball around a lot more better and just stop worrying about ISO stuff, especially, when one of your players, and this will segue into the next thing we're going to talk about, Chris Middleton, who had a great game 1, struggled in game 2.
Very much struggled in game 2. I don't know. I always see like Skip Bayless. I don't know if you watch like Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp at all, but they were talking about Chris Middleton, just about like how they either think they used to think he was a superstar, and now they think he's like just a regular role player. Like, what do you think? Like, do you think he not really a superstar? They think he a star borderline a superstar, but now they're saying he's like a star borderline, like a role player, basically. What would you say? Do you think he's like all-star caliber player?
He's a good number 2, but an amazing number 3 scoring option. And that's not a knock on him, but when he's on, he's on. But when he's super inconsistent, you really don't want him to keep shooting it because it's really hard for him to shoot his way out of a funk. And I think he's come a long way, and I think he's a solid piece on any championship team. I don't think he can be the first option or the second option on a championship team. I could be wrong this year if the Bucks come back and win the series. But I think he's carved out a role for him, but I definitely wouldn't call him a superstar, an all-star, or not. I mean, he is an all-star. What am I saying? But I wouldn't call him a star. I think he can get you some all-star appearances as a player and put up, 20-plus points per game and shoot 40% from 3 and, 80-90% from the line. But, he won't ever be able to lead a team. And I think that's not fair to him or not fair to the teams that he plays for. I mean, right now the Bucks, and saying that he can lead a team to a championship.
So
he's just not that kind of player, but sorry.
No, you're good. So I feel like I feel the same way. Like Chris Middleton, he's not a star. He'll have a couple all-star like games. He'll carry the team. He'll do really well. He's not consistent. But he'll do really well from time to time, like night to night. Not really when it matters most. It's kind of random, I feel like, when he goes off. But so then do you think the Bucks are just not fit to win against the Suns? Because the Suns just have a lot more star power, I feel like, than the Bucks. Like, you look on paper.
If you have Chris Paul, Booker, if everyone in your starting 5 is in double digits and you're the Suns, and then, we turn to the Bucks and only Giannis truly made a real impact, and Pat Connaughton is your third best scorer off the bench. I mean, it's going to be tough because the 7th man in your rotation is Jeff Teague, and he only puts up 4 points. And, that's what you kind of expect with someone like Jeff Teague. Nothing against him. It's just he's not who he once was in his Atlanta Hawks days, whereas you're getting scoring for everyone. I mean, it seems like, DeAndre Ayton had a monster game in game 1. And then, as you said, he took a step back in this game, but Mikal Bridges steps up in this one, puts up 27 points, and seemed like he couldn't miss a shot. And then, Jay Crowder also takes a step forward, 11 and 10.
Got some more points, got more than one.
Right. I mean, it's just I don't know how they're going to be able to do it. They're going to be perfect, as I said in the first recap. You can't be as inconsistent as you've been in these first 2 games where it's Giannis drops 20, but Chris Middleton drops 30. Or in this last game, Giannis drops 42, and Chris Middleton is nowhere to be found with 11 points. You need there to be some sort of happy medium. And you need Drew Holiday really to step up as well. Yeah, he had 17 points, but you'd like to see him, score a little more and be a little bit more effective. And I think if you can get all in to score around 20 or more, and then have Pat Connaughton do what he did off the bench again last night for the rest of the series, and hitting some threes and putting up like 15 points off the bench, you have a chance to beat these Suns. But it's just going to be tough because, as you said, they're just playing on a whole nother level, Phoenix is, and it just seems like it's someone else every night who has a coming out party along with Chris Paul.
Oh yeah, they the Bucks. Now I'm kind of, who's the third best in the Bucks? Ooh, third best in the Bucks. I'd probably say, I want to say Drew Holiday, but this series is kind of turning me off to Drew Holiday, honestly.
If we're just asking in general, it's Drew Holiday, because it would go Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. I mean, that's their so-called big three in Milwaukee. But you can make an outward case for someone like a Pat Connaughton as of right now. I think he's been more effective. But you can't forget about Drew Holiday's impact defensively. He's one of the better defensive guards in the league. And the Bucks are one of the better defensive lineups. I mean, Giannis is still doing great, blocking the ball, grabbing rebounds. He had a really nice chase down block, I think in game 1, but also last night. And yeah, they're going to have to use that to their advantage. But it just seems like the Suns are getting any look they want against this amazing Bucks defense, which is also a huge issue that not a lot of people are really talking about.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I haven't heard anybody really talking about the defensive end. I feel like it's more about just, we look at the atrocious shooting of Drew Holiday and everybody else. Like Drew Holiday, 7 for 21. Like, I mean, he did put up 17 points, but I mean, I would hope you put up 17 points with 21 shots and 3-point shot attempts. And it's just, he needs to play better. I mean, they just need Drew Holiday. They need somebody, as you were saying, like, they can't be having like one person scoring 42 and then Chris Middleton scoring like 11. They need 40 and someone else, second option, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, hopefully with like 30 if they hope to have a chance to beat the Suns. Like, and at this point, like, the Suns are like, they're only heating up too. Like the Bucks, I could see Giannis having like an explosive game next game, just one of those anger games that, like, why they're losing so much, and then they come back winning one game at home. I can see that happening, but it's only going to happen if at least Drew Holiday or Chris Middleton steps up a little bit.
They all need to do well, as you just said. I mean, if they want any chance of winning, because there's a chance they could all shoot the lights out, but still lose. And Giannis had a pretty good game last night. He was the best player on their team. He put up 20 points in that third quarter alone, which is the most in one quarter in the NBA Finals in like the last 20 years. More than LeBron has done and more than Kobe has done. They put that stat on the during the broadcast last night. So I think you're going to need Giannis to just keep doing what he does, dominating the paint. If you're the Suns, you want to try and foul him as much as you can, because he can't make a free throw. But
yeah, if they can just keep fouling him, the Suns win. Basically, if you can keep Giannis at the free throw line, let the shots, trying to keep the shots out at Drew Holiday, keep him shooting these brick shots, and that's how the Suns could win.
It's I would be scared if I'm the Bucks right now. Not just because you're down 2-0, but you had a chance to win this game a little bit, but you let the Suns go on too many runs. Devin Booker just really took over in that fourth quarter. We haven't talked about him too much. I mean, there isn't too much to say because he just dominated again. But he hit some tough shots last night in that last quarter. And, it just, you can't say enough about him, Chris Paul, Mikal Bridges, where he could be half as good as he was last night, and he's still contributing a lot to that Phoenix team. So you're going to have to come up with something crazy to take this next game against the Suns if you're Milwaukee. And they're going to have home court advantage to themselves for their benefit, and we'll see if they can come out swinging.
And Devin Booker too. He speaking of Devin Booker, he's not normally a very good like 3-point shooter, but he was shooting pretty good shots last night. I could check that again. He was 7 for 12 from the 3-point line, which is a lot more than he usually is. And if he gets good with shooting threes, that's scary. He
had one in the fourth quarter where, granted, it was Brook Lopez right up on him, but Brook Lopez didn't give him too much breathing room. He just fired the three, kind of like a YOLO shot. Buried
He's
it.
7 foot too. I mean, that's a wall in front of you, basically. Yeah, you can't see anything. Someone 7'1", 7 feet in front of you.
So, last thing before we wrap this up, I looked into this morning. I read an article about this morning. I forget who it was from, but they suggested that if the Bucks want to have a better chance of winning Game 3, they do this thing called they run a box and one on Devin Booker or Chris Paul. Do you know what that is?
I do not. Explain.
So a box and one, and this is a tactic that the Raptors used against Curry in the finals a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you have three of your defenders always following one player in the court at all times. So I forget who was on the Raptors, but even if he didn't have the ball or if he had the ball, I think when he had the ball, they took their chances with a one-on-one play. But when he's just by himself running around the court, you have three defensive players just following him around, making sure he doesn't even have a chance to catch a pass. So in this instance, what the Raptors did with the Warriors is they made sure that they shut down Curry and they took their chances with the other shooters on the floor with Klay Thompson, DeMarcus Cousins, Andre Iguodala, and just let them shoot it because they're not as good shooters as Curry.
Yeah.
Do you think we could see something like that with the Bucks doing that with someone like Booker, where you just leave it up to Chris Paul, Mikal Bridges, and DeAndre Ayton to try and hit shots? Because I think it's not a bad idea. I don't necessarily agree with it, but if you can completely eliminate one of their stars from scoring at all or scoring a lot, I think that gives you a better chance. But you are risking a lot, leaving other people open just to shoot it.
Yeah, if they were to do that, I feel like they'd probably have to do it on Devin Booker rather than Chris Paul.
I would think so too.
Yeah, because Chris Paul, I mean, he can score, but I feel like he's more like a pure point guard who's like pass first type of point guard. So and like Devin Booker, I mean, he's not a point guard, so he's not like a pass first. Like he's gonna score. So if they hold him from scoring. And like Chris Paul, like we've seen Chris Paul step up, but I mean, you can only step up so many times. Like, I mean, we can't forget about his past playoff career. You know what I mean? We can't forget about that. You can only step up so many times. So it's risky too. That's risky because if like Mikal Bridges, he could just go off for three.
I saw the idea floated around and I thought it was personally too risky too, because as you just said, they have some good shooters left on the floor, Mikal Bridges, whoever left of Chris Paul and Devin Booker it is that you're not box and oneing. And then you could obviously just feed it into DeAndre Ayton in the paint and he could go to work like he's done. So I wouldn't do it personally if I was the Bucks. I wouldn't do it for the whole game, maybe for like a quarter.
Yeah, they could try it. I mean, it wouldn't hurt.
You got nothing to lose. You're down 2-0.
Yeah, they literally have nothing left to lose. The odds against them right now are like 90-something%. Like, what was it? Like, if you're down 2-0, it's like a 90% chance you're not gonna win the finals.
I mean, 90% chance of that. And then I think teams were 0-92 when going down 3-1 before LeBron changed that 5 years ago against Golden State. Yes. Very good finals. But getting back to these finals, how do you think Game 3 is going to go?
Game 3, I'm saying, I want to see the Bucks win a game. I want to see them win a game, but I honestly, the Suns have good momentum right now, and the Bucks, they're fighting. You know what? No, I'm gonna say the Bucks. I'm gonna say I see the Bucks winning, but it's gonna be close. It's gonna be like a 109-104 type of game. One of those types of games.
I'm gonna say the Bucks take Game 3. I think the final score is going to be 98-96, so a little bit more low scoring. I think the Bucks are going to frustrate one of their top scoring players in the series so far, Bridges, Paul, or Booker. One of them is going to have an off night. I think the Suns are going to have a chance to win it at the buzzer with Devin Booker, but he's going to miss the shot. So that's the 98-96 prediction, and I think Giannis will have a solid game, maybe like 25 points. I think Drew Holiday may have a coming out party, but I think the Bucks are going to be able to steal a game here and split the series lead in half.
I like that. Who do you think has to play on the Suns? Who do you think has to play poorly for the Bucks to have a really good chance of winning? Like Devin Booker, Chris Paul.
Chris Paul the most because he facilitates everything. Not only is he
Mhm.
scoring a ton, I think he had, what did he have last night? 23 points.
Yeah.
But he also has a ton of assists. He had 8 assists. So
Mhm.
if they can frustrate him, I mean, you're attacking, that's like attacking the nucleus. And if you can get to him, I think you're going to be in a decent spot to try and win. But you still have an uphill battle. But that's what I think will happen. And I hope it happens because I don't want this to be a boring series.
Yeah, I want it to get spicy. It's got to get spicy soon.
Yeah, I want to see it go the whole way, and then I want to see Devin Booker 3 days after the Game 7 happens go straight to the Olympics. Same with Chris Middleton.
They'll be tired. They will be tired. One will be sad, but they'll both be tired.
That's what I was just going to say real quick before we wrap this up. Imagine losing the NBA Finals in Game 7, and then 3 days later, oh God, I forgot I committed to the Olympics. Got to go to Tokyo.
You're gonna play with the dude that just smoked your team.
Yeah,
that would be so sad. That would be so sad.
So that is going to do it for this episode. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. We will have another recap coming after Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Everyone, make sure to hit that like button, absorb that subscribe button. Tell us what you like, what you didn't like, what you like about us, what you don't like about us. More of these recaps coming, as I just said. Red Sox recaps coming, Celtics, Patriots, you name it. We'll probably have it on this channel, so look forward to more content coming as the summer progresses. Carter, I want to thank you again for joining me. We will see you again for the next recap.
Yes,
we will talk to you all soon. Have a good night. Take it easy. See ya.